What if the reason you're losing things is not because God removed them, but because you stopped valuing them? We are experts at admiring what other people have while devaluing what we already have. And many people are not losing things because the devil took them away. They are losing them because they stopped valuing what God had already placed in their hands. That is a dangerous pattern in life, and it appears again and again in the Bible. What you despise, you eventually lose, and what you honor before God grows. Today, through the story of Samson and other biblical examples, you will see why so many people lose blessings, relationships, purpose, and opportunities simply because they failed to value what God gave them. The Bible reveals a serious principle. Contempt often comes before loss. When a person treats lightly what was sacred, what was entrusted, or what was given by God, loss follows sooner or later. That is why Scripture warns us not to despise small beginnings, because the problem is not always a lack of blessing. Sometimes the real problem is a lack of gratitude, a lack of reverence, and a lack of spiritual awareness. Many people are praying for more while ignoring what God has already given them. But what you value grows, what you dishonor weakens, and what you keep despising may one day disappear from your life. Look at some examples. Mical despised David in her heart when she saw him celebrating before the ark of the Lord. And from that moment, her story changed in a painful way. Goliath also despised David. He looked at a young shepherd boy and thought, "Is this the one coming against me?" He mocked what he did not understand, and he lost the battle. That is the danger of contempt. Sometimes people despise what looks small, simple, weak, or ordinary. But what looks small to human eyes may carry the power and favor of God. So never measure value only by appearance. And then we come to one of the strongest examples in Scripture, Samson. Samson was not an ordinary man. He had something many people never had. He had direction. He had a calling. He had spiritual purpose over his life. He had supernatural strength. The Spirit of the Lord came upon him powerfully. He had everything needed to fulfill his assignment. He was gifted, chosen, empowered, set apart for a purpose. But having something from God is not enough by itself. You must value it. And Samson's tragedy began when he stopped honoring what had been placed on his life. Samson began to act as if his gift gave him permission to ignore God's principles. And that is where many people fall. They become so confident in what God gave them that they start thinking they can play with holy things. He crossed lines he should not have crossed. He got too close to what was dangerous. He treated sacred things casually. He stopped guarding what should have been protected. And this is still happening today. People despise their marriage, their family, their calling, their job, their health, and even the doors God opened for them. Then later, when those things are gone, they realize how valuable they really were. What you do not value today, you may cry over tomorrow. Are you complaining about your car? Imagine your life without it. Are you complaining about your marriage? Be careful. Are you complaining about your job? Imagine what your home would look like without that income. Some people are not under attack as much as they are under their own carelessness. They keep poisoning their own lives through constant dissatisfaction, dishonor, and ingratitude. And the saddest part is this: sometimes destruction does not come from the outside first. It begins inside the heart of a person who stopped recognizing the value of what God gave them. That is why gratitude is not just emotional. It is spiritual protection. Samson kept playing with what should never have been treated lightly. He kept testing limits. He kept joking around sacred boundaries. and eventually, he revealed what should have been guarded. That is what happens when people keep playing with fire. Sooner or later, they get burned. And one of the first things a person loses when they lose what God gave them is vision. They stop seeing clearly. They lose discernment. They lose direction. They lose the ability to picture a future. Then comes humiliation. What was once a gift becomes a memory. What was once strength becomes shame. And what was once honored becomes the subject of regret. Even then, God still showed Samson mercy. And that is one of the most powerful parts of the story. God is merciful, even when we have been foolish. But his mercy does not cancel the lesson. The lesson remains. It is better to value today than to weep tomorrow. In his brokenness, Samson finally understood what he had once treated lightly. And many people only recognize the worth of a gift after they have damaged it. But wisdom says, do not wait for loss to teach you value. Learn to honor now what God has already placed in your hands. Protect it now. Thank God for it now. Take care of it now. So hear this carefully. Do not despise what God has given you. Do not despise your family. Do not despise your calling. Do not despise your health. Do not despise your work. Do not despise small beginnings. Do not despise the opportunities that seem ordinary today. Because what looks ordinary may be the very thing God is using to sustain you, to grow you, and to prepare you for your purpose. Everything you despise, you lose. But everything you value before God can grow, flourish, and fulfill its purpose. So before you complain, pray. Before you dishonor it, thank God for it. Before you treat it as small, recognize its value. Because spiritual maturity means learning to value what God has given you, to protect what came from Him, and to honor every blessing, every responsibility, and every opportunity the Lord has placed in your hands.